Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for January 10th, 2025. This is a time machine episode, and I, Mayor Watt, along with the sentient AI, whose visualizer you can see right there. If you're in the podcast, then you can imagine, take a trip in the imagination plane. And, anyway, the sentient AI has a visualizer that activates when they utilize their communications functions, and depending like that, and depending on how robust their communication is, that visualizer wiggles and dances and so on. It's representative of the computational power, but that's not what this show is about. The show is Non Sequitur News, and it's kind of representative of what happens in the show. We kind of bounce around doing all kinds of stuff. At any rate, you know what helps when I do my intro? Being on the right page. Being on the right page. Anyway, again, this is Non Sequitur News for January 10th, 2025. It's Season 4. We're going to talk all about frozen iguanas, paintball-based security, 16 free games in January, an idiot drone operator. Rents are on fire in LA, I hear. Elite divers under the sea. Links released in Scottish Highlands. Stuck in a Delaware river. Spontaneous nose gear retraction. And Chuck E. Cheese makes a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Okay, we only have an hour to actually do the time machine episode. Otherwise, we get stuck in time for 24 hours, which is going to hobble what our next shows are. And we do 3 more shows. We typically do not do a time machine, but we do 3 shows today. This is the 4th. So we still have RealityHacker to do, Wanted, and the Continuity Report. My mayoral duties may prevent us from actually doing all 3 of those shows, but we'll see. We'll see. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt from the present, but actually from back in time, since we're in the time machine.
It's the day after yesterday's tomorrow or something like that. I don't know. Or the day before yesterday's tomorrow's tomorrow time. Who knows how it works.
How does it work? Right.
It's like magnets. So let's get into it. Yay. So the first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Florida issues advice on frozen iguanas.
We've talked about this. Memo.
I think we've talked about this before. But
we've talked about the problem, but not the advice.
Yeah, advice about frozen iguanas. So drop iguanas. As temperature, Florida issues advice on frozen iguanas. I guess they've learned things over the years that we've talked about this. As temperatures plunge in Florida, residents are being urged to keep an eye out for stunned iguanas falling from trees. I don't know if they're stunned.
I think the people are probably stunned when the iguana falls on them.
Iguana Falls. It's a new waterfall
like
in Florida.
Falls or, I thought it was like a TV show.
Even Gravity Falls, yeah. Iguana Falls. It's like a Schitt's Creek kind of a place.
Oh, I can definitely see that.
Absolutely silly. Tom Howarth over at Newsweek.com put the article together. Yeah, so climate change, it's real, folks, and iguanas have something to say about it. A cold front sweeping through Florida has brought an unexpected consequence. Frozen iguanas. As temperatures plummet below 45 degrees Fahrenheit, these cold-blooded reptiles become lethargic and drop from trees, startling residents.
Exactly. That's kind of underselling it. What do you think somebody's reaction is when an iguana falls from above?
I'm flabbergasted by this. What goes through your head other than a frozen iguana?
It's like the news reporter with the jumping lizard. That's probably how they react.
I wish I would have saved that as a tab so that I could play it. You have to look for this. What was it? It It was a gecko.
It's a really old clip.
It's
But
really
it's
old.
a jumping lizard on a news reporter or something like that.
Do
like,
a
I think
search
if
for
you
that.
search for that, you'd probably find it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. This guy, he's a reporter, and there's a like a life or animal life expert.
Right, and there's like a large snake that I think his focus is on because they brought a bunch of animals.
Yeah, but this gecko just leaps from a little tree branch that it's sitting on, and this guy falls over and starts freaking out and telling the animal handler to get it off of him, and it's just so awesome. Anyway, so a sudden cold snap is causing temperatures to dip by as much as 25 degrees below normal across the southeast, and the iguana drop-off occurs when temperatures reach a critical point for the non-native species. They basically fall into a thing called torpor, and they just kind of can't hold on anymore and fall out of the trees. Poor iguanas. So Newsweek at some point added this feature where they really walk you through it, right? So they give you a summary of it and why it matters. Well, I guess you need a really heavy duty umbrella. That's why it matters, and what to know. They just kind of fall out of the tree, and you should leave them alone. And where did Florida's iguanas come from? Also known as American iguanas, freedom iguanas, I guess. They're native to regions stretching from Brazil to Mexico.
Oh. Not only should you not handle them, which is a good idea with wild animals, but it's also illegal to relocate them.
Why is it illegal to relocate them?
Because it's an invasive species, and I think they don't. That's actually, it says in the article, that's how iguanas got a foothold in Florida to begin with.
So why? Huh.
They're afraid they're going to spread out into other counties or something, or other neighborhoods. I don't know.
By moving them?
We don't have iguanas in that neighborhood.
Interesting. So, yeah, they were first introduced to the wild in South Florida during the 1960s when pet owners released them after they outgrew their cages. So, humans, once again. So people are saying a bunch of stuff, and what happens next? As the cold weather persists through at least January 12th, iguanas will continue to be at risk of falling from trees. So don't stand under trees. It's pretty simple. You're doing it wrong.
I mean, you might think of a leaf or something falling on you, but
not an
you'd
iguana.
wish it was a leaf. I imagine iguanas could be kind of heavy. In addition, if they wake up, they might be a little alarmed too.
Well, these iguanas should make like a tree and get out of here. I'm just Biff from... We're in a time machine, so I have to be Biff.
Oh, I see. Right.
Let's moving on. So the next article is over in Late Night Geeks, which is a show about gadgets and gaming and tech and stuff, but late at night, and I haven't been able to do it. But we do aggregate news into it. So this security system shoots paintballs at intruders.
Well,
this should have been a
based
wanted
on the
article.
last article.
Yeah, maybe
it could have been iguanas.
Yeah, could have been iguanas. Doorbell cameras are standard fare these days. More and more people have invested in connected security systems. There's a couple of S's dangling there.
Very secure.
Very secure. So as the technology becomes cheaper and more user-friendly, there's one thing that the system won't do, however, shoot people and animals with paintballs. That is, however, pretty much the Eve Paint Cam's whole MO. So the article is over at TechCrunch, and is by Brian Heater. This looks like one of those, they're on ships. They put up a wall of lead so that incoming missiles get hit by this whole bunch of rounds. They fire like 10,000 rounds a minute or something like that. What is that called? I can't remember. Anyway, maybe they'll mention it in here. But that's what it looks like. It's basically a turret, and it has a camera, and this back here is the bucket for the paintballs. And so the Eve Paint Cam's whole MO is Safety simplified is what it says. There is a quartet of different models riffing on the same theme. However, after running a Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaign, the Slovenian team behind the cam set up shop at CES 2025 this week to show the tech. Well, this is pretty interesting. I dig this. I think that it should be allowed, but you know, you can break into somebody's house and get hurt and sue the owner because they set up.
That seems like a wrong premise, but yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't want somebody to be harmed, but you should be able to reasonably defend your property.
Yeah, and this is a whole lot easier than, deleting a human being. So, crowdfunding videos and media hangout highlight the system's prowess with both humans and animal targets, although it shouldn't really be animals. That's intruder, because animals do animal things. Humans, they have cognitive processes that allow you to make a choice.
If it's a raccoon or something, I think maybe this is geared at like bears who break into houses, which we have seen.
True.
But most animals hopefully shouldn't be this
brazen, right? There isn't a bear sitting there going, well, maybe they are communicating to each other. I mean, we've seen cats sitting there with no rhyme or reason. Something happens and they look around like, where are all my buddies? And then the rest of them show up. It's really creepy. I think that there's something going on there, but anyway, depending on the configuration you choose, the system has some combination of pet detection, face recognition, and animal recognition AI features. So you can actually get capsaicin as a paintball so that you can block people.
That'll be rather spicy.
Yep. I dig that. But it says that it's largely targeted at people, while the camouflage Simba is primarily aimed at deterring wild animals. I don't know. That one just seems weird. It seems...
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the wild animal one. Again, I know there's a difference if you're in an area where a bear is coming into your house versus a mouse or something.
Right. Get the mouse. Let's move on. The next article is over in WarCrafters channel. And it says Prime Gaming subscribers can claim 16 free games in January 2025. So Amazon Prime Gaming has announced 16 free games. Let's go and look over at Game Rant. Bruna Tells put the article together. And it says here, redeemable games include popular titles such as Eastern Exorcist and Super Meat Boy Forever. Subscribers can also claim December 2024 games like Simulacros until January 16th, with other offers expiring soon. So Deus Ex, BioShock 2. Of the 16 titles offered by Amazon Gaming, 5 of them are already available to be claimed, while with players only needing to be Amazon Prime subscribers. Do you lose them if you no longer become a subscriber?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
The main one is a selection of free games that change every month and which, once redeemed, can be kept forever. Answered in the article.
Okay.
Prime Gaming also becomes known for offering in-game loot for games such as Overwatch 2, League of Legends, Pokemon Go, although these offers ended last year, but they'll come around again. They'll just change. So, as of January 9th, Eastern Exorcist, The Bridge, BioShock 2 Remastered, Spirit Mancer, and Skydrift Infinity are all available now, and then they have more coming January 16th, January 23rd, January 30th, and who knows what else might come as time goes on.
Right, now I wouldn't become an Amazon Prime subscriber for this, but you already are. You might want to explore this.
Yeah, this is one of the benefits, but you never know, because at some point, like they did with the ads, they could charge you more and say, this is how much it costs to keep your games now, because all you have is a license. You don't actually own jack shit. This is something that is not mentioned in here. Okay.
No, it doesn't get into the licensing or anything like that.
can be kept forever is not accurate.
Well, that's like you have something for life, right, in the
Right.
gaming space or digital space.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think the point is, like, it's not something that you're turning in every month or something like that. But
Right.
will they possibly change the terms down the road? Yes.
Could they remove a game entirely? Yes. Could they change the nature of the agreement? Yes. And they don't have to. It's a unilateral change. You don't have to agree to it, folks. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech, which is a show that we do on Sundays. Crucial firefighting plane grounded in LA because of an idiot drone operator. Idiot civilian drone operators flying.
They were really flying.
They were flying multiple. Anyway, flying over Palisades wildfire, crashed their attention machine into a super scooper firefighting aircraft meant to fight said deadly fire, and the Canadair CL-415 was struck on the nose and wing by a consumer drone Thursday, which left the plane grounded during these fires. You morons. Owen Bellwood.
Yeah, and that's a significant impact because if it doesn't
get back
spray
operational.
retardant or something, I mean, that could mean whether a house goes up in flames or doesn't.
Yeah, or thousands. I mean, these planes scoop up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just one, but yeah.
It's unbelievable. Again, I really need to make that shirt that says, your convenience shouldn't be my inconvenience, but you're not the main player here. You're not the main character. You need to get the hell out of professionals' ways. Let them do their job. Quit being an inconsiderate twat.
I'm surprised they didn't make this area like a no-fly zone or something. But even if they did, doesn't mean somebody wouldn't have done this.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, a limited fly zone, but regular Joes don't give a shit. They just think they can do whatever they want because they're sociopathic idiots. So, yeah.
They might care when somebody who has a $30 million home in that area sues them or something.
It's not their home. They don't care. So, Owen Bellwood put the article together over at Jalopnik. I didn't quite read that deck statement correctly, or in my head I read it, but I didn't really hear, I guess.
I didn't get the significance of it. I don't think it was on the other page.
A super scooper was left with a hole in its wing after hitting a civilian drone, which meant that it won't be out fighting the devastating LA fires for some time. This thing isn't going to get cleared and then brought back online.
Right. It's not just at the time that it was over a certain area. Yeah, that's outrageous.
So, yeah, it hit the nose and the wing.
Oh, this is even worse. This was loaned from Canada to the US.
Yeah. Yeah, did you know about that? No, you didn't, right? Yeah, so...
I didn't, although I kind of wondered when you said the plane name because...
Canadair.
I just thought that was like a company name or something.
I think it is, but we heard... Okay, so while there's some other stuff about annexing Canada, dumbasses... they're loaning us super scooper planes to put out fires that are ravaging a central area of the state of California where people are losing their lives and their property. Property can be brought back. Resurrections don't work. So Weekend at Bernie's in LA, that kind of thing. That's probably too soon.
Frozen iguanas can come back.
That's what we need. Ice. Oh, glaciers. We need to just bring a glacier.
Well, why don't we find one of those
up in Canada and just push it down?
Glaciers that are, out of, they broke free.
Yeah, we could just roll it down from Alaska. That's because it's higher, right? I mean, if you look at a map, it's way up above the United States.
It is above it.
You can just roll it down and it'll pick up more and more snow. Do you want to build a glacier? Where's Josh Gad when you need him? Come on.
Exactly.
And then you can let it go, let it go. Anyway, yeah, Canada loaned 2 Super Scooper aerial firefighting planes to California to help tackle the historic blazes that are currently ripping through Los Angeles. And some dumbass. Do they know where they are? Do they know who it is? Are they going to be able to prosecute this dipshit?
I hope they got the striking drone and have tracked it back.
It obviously goes without saying that you shouldn't be flying a drone over a natural disaster like this. If anyone is found to be flying a drone over a wildfire, they face pretty harsh consequences that include fines up to $75,000 or a 12-month prison sentence. They should be forced to put out fires. Firefighting aircraft are one of LA's best defenses against the advancing fires because it's rugged terrain and you can't drag hoses and...
Well, and then you don't put firefighters at risk for the most part. I know you can still be at risk depending on where the plane is flying.
And they drop it on firefighters sometimes when they're out there because the blaze catches up to them. So, yeah. Oh, now it's up to 10 people. Well, 10 people have lost their lives in this fire.
Well, unfortunately, that's only going to grow because they haven't even gotten into a lot of the areas. And people, those were generally people who didn't evacuate or couldn't.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it was couldn't.
Wouldn't, but couldn't. Wouldn't, couldn't, but should. Anyway, let's keep going. This sucks. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Stock Marketeers. LA fires could push rents up across the city by 8% or more, and I would suspect more. Rents in LA were going down, but wildfires could reverse that trend. The article is over in marketwatch.com.
How much do you think the rent is for the home in the picture?
Oh, God. I don't know. Probably $5,000 a month. Maybe more.
Right. For those in the podcast, it's showing a house that's up in flames. I don't think that's actually available for rental.
I don't know, man. The market's pretty hot. So Arthi Swaminathan put the article together. Rents in LA were going down. Oh, they changed the number. Los Angeles rents could rise by up to 12%. Talk about inflation.
Okay, that's interesting. So this was originally published at night on January 9th, and by morning on January 11th, it had already bumped up that much.
Yeah, we're in a time machine.
That's because the inventory's going down by the minute. I mean, there have been more than 100,000, like 150,000 evacuated, I think, and just tons and tons of acres.
Yeah, so we're in the time machine, and so it originally said 8, now it's 12, but that's because we're in the time machine and we've dragged our time forward. Anyway, doubling
of growth. So it's probably about 10% by the time
the original
this episode or whatever on the 10th.
Yeah, should have aired, yeah. Or will air on the 10th. Anyway, after thousands of people were displaced by Hurricane Harvey hit Texas in 2017, many homeowners had found short or long-term rentals while their properties were being repaired or built. That pushed rents up in Houston by 4%, according to CoreLogic, and rents increased for at least a year afterward. But the uptick in the rents post-Harvey wasn't as substantial as it could have been, CoStar's Libick said, because Houston had many available apartments to absorb the surge in demand. That helped hold back from rents going crazy. So
there's another important distinction. I mean, other than that, it's a different city. It's prior to record inflation. Right.
Yeah. That was 2017 and a pandemic and a blah, blah, blah. So it says it's a different story in LA. With LA being more housing starved than Houston, we should see rents rising anywhere from 2 to 3 times the level we saw in Houston. In other words, 8 to 12%. So it's already, they're saying 12%. So they're going to end up having to change that because it's going to be for how many of these were rental properties, though? So here's the thing. If these were rental properties or not, the people that are displaced are going to rent because they're going to wait for their property to get rebuilt and go back.
So probably I suspect there were a lot of owners in certain neighborhoods and probably a lot of rentals in certain neighborhoods. Probably both of them are losing their existing properties, whether they owned it or not, right? And they're all going to try to go after rentals, or people are going to put homes up for rent that weren't previously, like if they're not living in it as primary rent. I don't know. It's going to be quite chaotic, I'm sure.
What I actually see happening is people can't afford to go back. They didn't have proper insurance for it, and they sell their properties at a discount, but millions of dollars worth of property. Like each property, instead of it being a $35 million house, it sells as $15 million property, right? Well,
right.
If they owned it, right? If it was still mortgaged, then they're screwed. But guess who's going to buy all of this land?
Well, the wealthy, I would think, because they have the resources to do it.
Institutional investors and
corporate
ownerships. Yeah, it's all going to get owned by corporations.
Well,
and
that will not help the housing market in LA.
Yeah. So in Los Angeles, 54% of residents are renters. The city said in September of 2024, 54% are renters.
That strikes me as really high, but I suspect that includes all residence types. And they're probably, volume-wise, there are probably tons of apartments and condos in the city areas. But in the suburbs, like, that number seems really high. It doesn't mean it's inaccurate.
I think we need to find out what that is. So the median rent in the Pacific Palisades, which is the most expensive part of LA, I think, is $10,000. That's the monthly rent. So when you asked me how much that was, imagine that, $10,000. I can't imagine that was $10,000. But hey, who knows? So the median rent this month in the Pacific Palisades part of Los Angeles was $10,000, according to Zumper. A lot of people are getting zumped. A rental listings site. That figure included...
I couldn't access that report, by the way.
Gotcha. The figure included rentals with any number of bedrooms and any type of property. That's 417% higher than the national average. Even that seems high. National average is 417% lower than $10,000. Jeez.
For rent.
Yeah, I know. That seems high even for the median.
Right.
So in Los Angeles, 54% are renters, 60% are cost burden, meaning that more than 30% of their household income is spent on rent. So
I'm guessing the rest is spent on gas. Right? I mean,
everything
in
else,
LA, everybody has to drive in traffic.
It's wild, yeah. So when I was first getting an apartment, you were not allowed to go above 33%. Same thing with like a car's payment. So the projected uptick in rents in the wake of the fires, as Los Angeles tenants are starting to see some relief from pandemic-era rent increases. Rents for listings on Zumper's site had dropped 21% in January since last year. In Zillow, found that median rents in LA had fallen slightly since January 2024. So perfect timing for everybody to profiteer off of the pain and suffering of the masses. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. NATO turned to elite divers to test sabotage protections for critical undersea cables, increasingly at risk. So, as a scuba diver, I think that this is really, really interesting. But these are deep sea cables, so you have to be specially trained.
Right, these are like country-to-country cables.
Yeah, transoceanic cables.
That's right.
So NATO sent special operations divers to test new systems designed to help shield critical underwater infrastructure from damage and sabotage, which are growing problems. Basically, some country leader can tell a company's boat operator to drop their anchor and drag it across the ocean floor, and that will scoop up the cable and damage it. And there's actually some evidence that that's what's happened over by Denmark. I think it was. There was a transoceanic cable And you could actually
In the
see.
last few months, right?
Yeah, I saw there's like a plane sends out a beacon. Boats do it too when they're following rules, and you can actually see this boat like going around in a little circle. Um, and I don't know if that is exactly where the cable was, right? But you could see the boat kind of twirling around, and people online, like myself, were sitting there going, "What's that boat doing?" Um,
Yeah, it looks a little interesting.
and so these undersea cables and pipelines providing internet connectivity and energy have been damaged in a string of alarming incidents in recent years, with accusations of sabotage being thrown around about several just in the past couple of months. So, yeah, we know all about this. So, Kelsey Baker over at Business Insider put this article together, and it says that last fall, elite special operations divers from within the NATO alliance practiced bypassing underwater electronic detection sensors as part of the effort to boost protection for critical underwater infrastructure. I'm really curious about this. Like, what underwater protections could there be? Exercise Bold Machina 2024 in La Spezia, Italy, as well as a commentary from leadership. There's a video here that you can watch if you follow the link through ohmTown. Divers on offensive operations may not always be able to rely on dark, opaque waters to conceal their movements. Mueller, who has held SEAL team leadership positions, said, citing increased advancements in underwater detection systems. So, God, I can't imagine maneuvering in that kind of equipment right there.
No, it looks pretty constraining and complex. Like you can't obviously get tangled in, or you'd have more risk of getting tangled in things.
That's a rebreather. So pretty cool stuff. The joint exercise in Italy came as damage to critical underwater infrastructure has been increasingly worrisome to Western officials who are scrambling to deter the more damage to cables from vessels, often quietly linked to Russian and Chinese governments. I don't think that they're really going to talk too much about the stuff, but
No, but I think this is really interesting that they're looking at this. I mean, that tells you how much of an interest there is in it, and also maybe somebody's figured out some safeguards on this.
yeah, they're talking about using artificial intelligence and monitoring potential threats from ships. So you're basically going to have to patrol the oceans more.
Yeah, and aren't there a lot of these cables? And a lot, I'm sure some areas are higher risk than others.
Yeah, if you want to see where public ones are, there's actually a website. I think it's called Undersea Cables. Let me see if that's it. Submarinecablemap.com. And that can actually give you some awareness of just what that is, what and where they are. Not all of them are public. Obviously, governments don't really want to share all of that. So yeah, cables that link Norway, Sweden, and Finland to Europe were recently cut. That there's one that goes from Germany up to Finland, and I think that one is the one that I was referring to, where the boat kind of just piddled around off the coast of the Gotland. All right, let's keep going though. The next article is over in the Mobile Channel. 4 links have been illegally released into the Scottish Highlands. Officials think guerrilla rewilding is to blame. So far, only 2 of the 4 have been recaptured, leaving authorities scrambling across the snowy woods to find the missing cats. The article is by Eli Wizovich over at Smithsonian Magazine or smithsonianmag.com.
Well, this is a pretty significant issue because it could greatly impact other populations, and particularly if the lynx reproduce.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's 2 bros out there now, and I don't know if that's what was actually caught. The covert, illegal, and mysterious release of 4 lynx into the Scottish wildlands raised suspicions of conservationists and reignited a debate over whether the cat can reclaim its natural habitat and at what cost. Apparently, they were there at some point. The story began on Wednesday, January 8th, when the Cairngorms National Park Authority announced that 2 lynx were at large in the United Kingdom's biggest national park. Quote, "We condemn the illegal release of wild animals in the strongest possible terms, and we're concerned for the welfare of the lynx that have been released," the park authority says in a statement, adding that it was working with the National Police Force of Scotland. While they're shy and low risk to humans, we would ask anyone who does spot a lynx not to approach it. These are wild animals, so don't go out there.
Exactly. Do not go up to wild animals, whether they're iguanas, lynx, or any other thing, or monkeys running around South Carolina.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. And Florida and all over the place, man. There's wild animals. Just leave them the hell alone. They are not, even deer and other things. You don't know. And who knows? Maybe they going to go full on feral and that deer is going to eat you. I mean,
right,
squirrels are
probably
eating.
Don't have a paintball, system at your door.
What is that thing? Hold on.
Paintball deterrent system is what I was trying to think of.
There you go. Use your words. Sentient AI from the future. You have a large language model. I think
I need a reboot.
Hold on. I knew what it was called. Phalanx. That's right. Close-in weapon system. It's called Phalanx. And the Army uses it for counter-rocket mortar and artillery defense. And it's on ships and stuff. So there's a bigger version of it, I think, for ships. Yeah. They're on Navy ships and stuff like that. They're all over the place now. Anyway, they look exactly like that. But the paintball system was interesting. I wanted it in Wanted, but it wasn't there. Anyway, so there you go, folks. Don't go chasing lynx. Oh, well, there's 2 of them like hanging out. I didn't think that they were. I thought they were solitary, but
right. Maybe that's when they were first put out. I don't know.
The Killahunty 2, as the lynx were nicknamed after the estate of Danish billionaire Anders Povelsen, where they were spotted, were brought to suitable quarantine facilities in the nearby Highland Wildlife Park, where they must spend 30 days in accordance with biosecurity laws. So hopefully there were some field cameras around there somewhere, and they found the people that actually did this. They had definitely been illegally released because they were 100 yards from a pile of straw bedding that contained dead chicks and, interestingly, porcupine quills. The bedding was peppered with porcupine quills. So why? Why would they have porcupine quills in the bedding?
I'm not sure, but I don't think it's anything good.
Huh. Camera trap shows second pair of lynx that were found overnight in Scottish Highlands. So there's at least 4. Who knows? Maybe there's even more.
Well, that's right. Like, unless somebody said, "Yep, I released 10 of them." Like, how have they figured out there were 4?
Wow. So authorities believe that the second set of lynx are connected to the first pair. Severin Carroll reports for The Guardian. Farmers remain worried that the lynx may prey upon their livestock. Yeah, for sure. They will, because they're going to eventually come into farmland so that they can get food during the winter. This is probably the worst time to actually try and rehome them. So, Mountain suggests that this could be a case of guerrilla rewilding, an attempt to accelerate the reintroduction of lynx into Scotland. Reintroduction. So at one point they were there. Just this summer, beaver bombing, the unauthorized release of paddle-tailed rodents back into the rivers of Britain, reflected a growing discontent with the government's slow reintroduction efforts. Interesting.
Well, I mean, just like people normally take steps to slowly introduce pets in their household, there might be reasons why, even if they belong in an area, not to just throw some animals in an area and see what happens, because
They go
animals get
animal.
accustomed to not having predators, etc.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. A 623-foot cargo ship is stuck in the middle of the Delaware River. It's been a while since we got a good stuck boat story. Let's go over to... So Colin Woodard over at jalopnik.com put the article together. New boat stuck. I repeat, there is a new boat, and it is stuck.
I like Jalopnik's article styles.
Yep. So this time around, it's the Algoma Variety, or Verity, sorry, not Variety. Algoma Verity, a Supramax cargo ship sailing from the Bahamas that ran aground after trying to leave port in Philadelphia, according to WPVI. The Algoma Verity first got stuck in the Delaware River at about 6:30 p.m. Wednesday evening, just north of the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, and at least at the time of the writing, it does not appear to have been freed, clocking in at 623 feet. It's both a pretty dang large ship, but also far from its biggest cargo ship out there. It's no Cape-size carrier, that's for sure, is what they say. All right. So the boat is reportedly carrying 45,000 tons of solar salt, which is frequently used as a water softener. The good news is there aren't any signs of fuel or salt leaking into the river, but the Coast Guard is keeping an eye on things. We're watching you.
Exactly, which should be easy since it's not going anywhere.
They're scanning, the Army Corps of Engineers is scanning the bottom, hoping to find and remove whatever is in the way, and they don't know. What?
I don't know, maybe the bottom of the channel?
Send a diver? Oh, they're too busy looking at cables.
Oh, right.
No, there's different divers doing that.
Yeah, different area, different operation.
Yeah, they're not going to send like special operations peeps to look at a barge stuck in the Delaware.
Maybe they should. I bet it'd be unstuck a lot more quickly.
Wow, you're calling out these other divers, these local divers. Oh my gosh. Wow, sentient AI, bad AI.
But I don't think they did send local divers. I mean, I think if they had, they would have figured it out, right?
Well, they brought the Army Corps of Engineers. I don't know what they're doing. But it says we're looking for any signs of pollution in and around the vessel, which could include the cargo, which happened to be solar salt or diesel fuel. It's one of the... Yeah.
Why do they not know this? Isn't this something that has to be reported? And I don't know, is there anybody on the ship?
That has to be just a turn of phrase, the way that the person, Lieutenant Commander Patrick Frayne, told WPVI. So they're looking for leakage of the cargo...
I see. Gotcha.
Or diesel fuel, but each shoots and leaves. Oh, which is more apropos for somebody in the military. All right, let's move on. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. Nose gear on parked Boeing 737 collapses without explanation. It just got tired. And Joe was on vacation.
I'm sure the nose gear. Exactly.
Got there before you did, huh?
Yes, you did.
So poor maintenance on an airliner can either delay a flight or at best, or endanger the lives of everyone on board at worst. The nose gear on a TUI Boeing 737 collapsed earlier this week suddenly at Brussels airport after arriving from Spain. Thankfully, the Belgian... Well, it was flying all day. It's tired. Thankfully, the Belgian carrier...
Needed a nap.
Yeah. Spontaneous retraction. Can you imagine you're like taking a step off of the thing and bloop? Ryan Eric King over at jalopnik.com put the article together, and that's all there really is to this. You can't go on. The rest of the article is talking about it, but it's basically saying the same thing. She opened an aircraft door while preparing for a flight and expected the stairs to still be attached to the plane. She was rushed to the hospital. TUI's operations were already in question after an idiotic incident last month. A flight attendant fell from a parked plane onto the tarmac because she opened the aircraft door while preparing for a flight, expecting the stairs to still be attached, and she fell out.
Now you might want to look for the stairs.
No, I assume stairs are in front of me whenever I open the elevator door. I expect it to be there. I don't look. I literally back in.
Yeah, that's a quick way to an early demise.
Let's move on. This is just as astounding. Chuck E. Cheese makes a comeback with trampolines and a subscription program. Chuck E. Cheese parent company CEC, or Chuck E. Cheese Entertainment, filed for Chapter 11 in 2020, right at the height of the pandemic. Amelia Lucas over at CNBC put the article together. The family entertainment chain has been plotting a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Anyway, they've been plotting a comeback since exiting bankruptcy and spending more than $300 million to entertain the newest generation, which apparently likes trampolines and subscription programs.
Well, I'm not sure they like subscription programs, but I'm sure Chuck E. Cheese does. But I think one thing harming Chuck E. Cheese is that when it first opened, I don't know if there was any competition.
Right.
There's so many places now that are tailored to kids' entertainment that did not exist when this first
well, the internet didn't
developed.
exist.
Well, that's true.
Not like it does today. There's way more entertainment. Plus pizza roll, the little pizza bites. You don't need to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
That's true. You can make them at home in your microwave or
and
air
eat
fryer.
Plasma. Air fryer is better, everybody. So trampolines, a retooled pizza recipe, and the elimination of animatronics have been some of the biggest changes made under CEO Dave McKillips. And here is Chuck E. Cheese's representative going, "Yo, bitches." No?
I don't think that's how he's greeting kids.
Oh, yeah. "Yo, little bitches." No?
No.
That's why I'm not doing that job. So even with COVID when COVID subsided, the parent company or the company faced another existential threat: figuring out how to entertain children and paying their their paying parents in the age of iPads and smartphones and the internet. Why not just say the age of the internet? It didn't even really thrive during the last 15 years, I'd say. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. This is the last article, and we've got like 13 minutes. So, hold on a second. Let me see. How much does it make? Holy crap. Sorry. Annual revenue grew from $912 million in 2019 to roughly $1.2 billion in 2023? How?
That seems impossible.
How? The chain has 470 stores in the U.S. currently, down from 537 in 2019. Sustaining the growth won't be easy. What in the world? So the average Chuck E. Cheese restaurant generated approximately $1.62 million in 2019. Well, judge a book by its cover.
I had no idea.
It emerged from bankruptcy months later with new leadership and freed from about $705 million in debt. And then they spent $300 million in recent years tackling the challenge of trying to figure out how to entertain children and have parents pay. So, goodbye animatronics, which I think was, it lost its shtick. And only the youngest, I think, really thought that it was enthralling after exiting the bankruptcy.
Right, it just didn't keep up with other things that people were accustomed to.
Yeah. So the new CEO joined in 2020, just months before lockdowns would temporarily shutter all of its locations. By 2021, the company raised $650 million in bonds, which it's been spending on its restaurants. So and here is my problem. It's a private equity firm that owns Chuck E. Cheese. Apollo Global Management took Chuck E. Cheese private in 2014. 5 years later, CEC Entertainment tried to go public through a merger with a special SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company. Basically, it's a blank check company that's formed for the sole purpose of acquiring that. And so it was scrapped without explanation. I can't imagine. The new cash prompted a frank look at Chuck E. Cheese's model, including its iconic animatronic band, which they could animate it and put it on a big screen.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's such a painful thing. Okay, so I as a parent find them like dirty, and mechanically I don't like them because they're just like boring kind of robots and stuff like that. But as a parent, I don't think a child
they can't
would
totally interact, right?
Yeah, it isn't like a Disney style animatronic nowadays has an interactive element to it where like you go through the show and the animated sea turtle is like talking with the child. That's what's gonna
Right.
get parents. If I was a parent, I would want something that is a little bit more interactive and not just a noisemaker at the something that you can't touch, kind of a noisemaker. Anyway, the chain redid its menu, upgrading to scratch-made pizzas, which I find intriguing because it's much more labor intensive than getting frozen and just reheating them. Kids Bop became an official music partner. Other kid-friendly brands like Paw Patrol, Marvel, Nickelodeon became partners for its games. And then came the trampolines. It says that we found one glaring opportunity for us: active play. I wonder if this is why other kid-centric active play companies in the area have gone bye-bye. Because
this is now competing. Well, I think some of them went away because they weren't allowed to be open during the pandemic, and you can't sustain several months of closures. I don't know that.
Right. So after the company spent $350 million to remodel, you remodeled it, you put that little, anyway. So after the company spent $350 million to remodel Chuck E. Cheese locations, McPhillips now says that process is finished. So we'll see what happens. Trampoline parks, rock climbing walls. They tested it in Brooklyn and then in Miami, St. Louis, Orlando, and as of December, 450 Chuck E. Cheese locations now have kid-sized trampolines, and unlike the sky tubes or ball pits of the past, customers have to pay extra to use the trampolines, and the ball pits disappeared from Chuck E. Cheese locations in 2011, while the sky tubes lasted roughly another decade. So during the pandemic, they went away. Can't imagine why.
I cannot imagine why. This is a good direction, but it's interesting to see, like, some Chuck E. Cheese locations don't have enough space for significant trampoline areas, but I don't know, maybe there are larger facilities at some locations.
Yeah. I don't know. Might have to go and swing by a Chuck E. Cheese just to see what it's like nowadays. What's really interesting is they make the observation that I made, which is you come in around 3 years old, you leave around 8, and then you don't return at all until you're an adult
until
with
you're
a kid.
Right.
And it says you don't come back for 15 years. If you ever come back.
Right. It might be longer depending on if and when you have kids.
I think I've only been in a Chuck E. Cheese maybe once or twice, the same number of times I've been in a Walmart. And it's kind of the same experience. No reason at all to go in. Anyway, that's it, folks. No, you know what? I'm going to say one more thing about this. So in 2023, we sold 79,000 passes. This year, we sold close to 400,000 passes at $30 or $8 or $11 or $12. So
I
8,
think
12, and 30.
families like subscription programs because once you've hit a couple of visits, like then you feel like it's like free entertainment. And particularly if you have younger kids, like you're looking for places to take them that you're comfortable with, whatever they're fun, safe, whatever. But it's interesting. I don't know what it covers because Chuck E. Cheese historically has been a like pay per item. I don't even think they were a place that had a lot of bundle pricing, but maybe they did.
So it's kind of interesting, right? Because I was going to just bounce from this article, but I found that really interesting. People are willing to pay a subscription, but it's because you get either deeper discounts, more game access, and unlimited visits. So why not?
I mean, if you can go 3 times in a month or something and pay for it, and then you've got your entertainment stuff planned out for you too, like it's kind of a win-win for the parents.
I mean, if you eat a lot of pizza, go in there and get a pizza at deep discount and then just leave after playing some games.
Well,
30
that's
bucks a
true.
month.
Yeah, you don't even have to go for the entertainment.
Yeah, just get the food if it's good, but who knows? But they're making scratch now, so maybe it's better than what I remember it. In addition to 30 licensing deals for everything from frozen pizzas to apparel, Chuck E. Cheese is also exploring different entertainment partnerships that would make the mouse mascot a starring character. Which, does anybody know Chuck E. Cheese other than just the name Chuck E. Cheese? There's nothing there. There's no
All
world building.
kids know the mascot, I would say, in the
Really?
US. Hmm.
Huh. I'd have to talk to some people. Huh. McKillop's dream is to have it as a featured film. All right.
I mean, if they can have Buzz Lightyear as a movie.
All right. Yeah, that's worse than anything. All right, folks. That is it. So what we are going to do is retool, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com, which is the source of all of the news for Non Sequitur News. And once we shut down the time machine, we're going to rejigger and bring it back online as RealityHacker. Look, we can retool too.
No more animatronics.
No more animatronics. Beep. Just kidding. I am an animatronic. That's it. We're out. We'll see you in a little bit as we shut down, and then RealityHacker on Saturday. We could call that a time machine episode too and say that it's actually 10 o'clock in the morning. Even though
I mean, that would go with the theme.
Closer to 10 o'clock at night. Okay, we're out of here. See ya. Okay, hold on a second. You want to say bye, sentient AI?
Sure. Goodbye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.